Hello people, my name's Dave Courtney. Here's a little interview for you. Crack on.
Right. Do you think that the typical British crime gangster films have had an effect on youth culture over the years?
It'd be very hard to say no. Yeah?
Yeah.
You know, I think the people are influenced by computer games, drugs, alcohol, films, but I wouldn't actually put the blame on films, onto people's behaviour. I think it might influence the people that was going that way anyway. Yeah, it might influence the people that was actually have chosen that walk of life anyway. I don't think it's going to make anyone go, I won't work in the city, or I don't want to be a teacher. I'm going to be a gangster. Right?
Yeah.
No, to be perfectly honest, you know, if so, then Scarface has a lot to answer for. You understand what I mean? Right. But you can't actually blame the criminal culture of the youth of today down to film. I don't think that, but it might influence the way that would-be naughty boys decide to act after they've decided to be a naughty boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's your favourite crime film and why?
Because I'm older, I'm going to say a different answer now than I would when I was younger, right? Because I understand there is no glamour in crime. You know, the word gangster is a historical word. It's like saying knights in shining armour, pirates, cowboys, gangsters. They are no longer. Like bursting in a bank and go and stick them up, give me all your money. That don't happen no more. The biggest criminals in the world are working in the stock exchange, nicking millions of pounds on a computer. So, you know, and I've never nicked that much money in my life as what they nick per day. But I suppose Scarface has got to be the original I want to be a bad boy kind of film, right? I don't know if you're aware of this, but there is a law passed, I think it was in 1930 something, by Hoover in America, that to make sure that you don't glamorise crime on film, there is a law passed that you are not allowed to glamorise crime on film. There is no gangster film now made where the bad guy wins in the end. Right? If you want to go and check up on that law, I don't know where it is, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. I've made a movie myself. And the law is that's why Scarface dies in the end. That's why in Goodfellas he turns into an informant. In Heat he gets killed. You know, in all the films, the bad guy will end up coming a cropper by law. Otherwise, he's not allowed to get his own certificate.
Oh.
Get that one. Get that one. A wealth of information, people. You know.
Do you feel that appearance in the criminal underworld plays an important role in order to gain respect and status?
Appearance? Yeah, I'm afraid it does, yeah. As much as they say you can't judge a book by its cover, it does help. You understand what I mean? If you're actually going around to demand money off somebody as a debt collector, you know, if you turn up in a scruffy pair of trainers, dirty jeans, your hair ain't combed, your shoes ain't shiny, and you're a little fella, then the geezer must probably go, I ain't paying you. You know what I mean? So appearance is all important. Plus, it's the only career in the world, crime, and that's all it is. It's not a way of life. It's a career.
Yeah.
If you're a bricklayer, you don't come home with a trowel and build brick walls in the front room. And I don't run around the kitchen with a gun going, make me a sandwich. Right? It's tools of the trade, on site, at work. And when you come home, you're just a man. You understand what I mean? And it's the only job in the world where you're not allowed to show off as a criminal. Right, if you're a footballer, you score a goal, you go, yes. If you mow the lawn, you can look at that. If you've decorated your room, you can go, wow, look at that. But as a criminal, the bigger crime you do, the less people you can tell. You know, there's things on telly that's happening, I want to go, I've done that. And everyone's going, wow, that's got to be a proper geezer. And I want to go, that's me. But you've got to say nothing. So the only way you can show off, as soon as you're doing something that's against the law and against the norm and looked at by the public as nasty crime, you should at least do it with as much honour, dignity, respect, style and class as possible. So you should dress better than everyone else. You're nicking more. Yeah, so yes, it is very important, yeah.
Alright. Do you think the films you've starred in, for example, Hell to Pay, show a true image of a British gangster?
The true image of a British gangster would be very, very boring on film.
Yeah.
Yeah? It would be a very boring film because gangsters, the word gangster is actually a film media word. There isn't no things anymore. But naughty men, their normal everyday life isn't as glamorous as the big screen or a book would make it. right? If you've only got an hour and a half to show someone's life, you need to show the glamorous thing in a film. If you've only got 300 pages to talk about your life, you try and make it as glamorous as possible. But in reality, there's more horrible days and boring times than glamorous times.
Yeah.
Yeah? No, so the film I was in, Hell to Pay, showed some true events, but it ain't like that every single day. Right? More days are shit than good.
Yeah.
That's the truth. But you're not allowed to say that because you're a criminal, so you've got to pretend to the rest of the world, which is all you're doing as a criminal, pretending. Even when you go to prison, you pretend it don't matter and all that. If someone smacks you in the mouth, you go, it don't hurt. It fucking did. And prison's not nice, but it's your job. You go, it's okay. 20 years, I do a stand on my head. Didn't hurt. Right? That's your job as a naughty man. And the better you can pretend that you ain't scared, and it's a facade, it's all pretend, and film is pretend. So I've tried to make mine look as truthful as I could because I'm in the real world, and as entertaining as I can because it's going to go to more people watch my film that have never been a criminal than would watch it that have been a criminal. So I've got to please the ones that have never been naughty, and the ones that have been naughty to go, well, that bollocks, Dave. You know, I've got so it's hard for me. So I think mine's more realistic than most. Yeah?
Cool, yeah. Do you feel they glamorise criminal actions or show a realistic representation of what it's like?
Yeah, very much so, yeah. Right? But don't forget, any law that's made, people will find a loophole in it. Now, if you're a filmmaker, you want to make money. So as long as you keep to the rules, make the bad guy die in the end, you make the crime life for your hour and a half worth of film look as entertaining and as sexy and as glamorous and as wow as possible, but as long as in the end the bad guy don't make it, that's a good film. If you make a film like, oh my god, woe is me, who's going to watch it? Who's going to go, wow, I'll have that on the old blockbusters? You know what I mean? So yes, it does make it look glamorous. I don't actually think people are that stupid to believe that if they turn into criminals, they're all going to have a yacht, they're all going to have Rolls Royces, everyone's going to have £2,000 shoes and a blonde bird with false tits. Right? No one's actually that stupid, honestly, to think. Yeah. You know, I mean, selling drugs on the corner of a street and having a few quid more than your mate for 6 months might be the bollocks, but you will get caught. And you've got to believe me, everybody gets caught. Everybody, bar none, gets caught. Right? So you enjoy the days that you're not getting caught 10 times as much as everyone else. Because on the days that it's all going wrong for you, it's fucking going wrong. Right? You have a bad day, your camera might break or your car will break down. If I have a bad day, I'll go to prison for 10 years. Right? So I enjoy the good days as much as I can because the bad days are bad. Yeah? Then, you know, it's a job of the making of the films that you're supposed to make anything entertaining. Anything. If it was, you know, there's other people whose job is to make videos that you see on telly to go, don't drive, don't drink and drive, and the adverts for that are like, they're horrific, aren't they? You know what I mean? They do the same for Don't Be a Criminal. Right? But there's another man whose job is a director to try and make a film as crowd pleasing as possible, so he makes it all razzmatazz. But that's not a true portrayal of it, no.
Yeah.
But they do it.
Ah, that's cool. What are your thoughts of Guy Ritchie as a director?
Guy Ritchie as a director, it's just a little bit hard for me, right? Because Guy Ritchie, I actually met Guy Ritchie before Lock, Stock was made, in the Ministry of Sound when I was holding court with all my friends, and he was left like that. Wow. Courtney in 40 of his bad boys, you know, and approached me and came up the next week to mind if I video you. Well, I wasn't doing anything, I was just out with my mates having a good time, and it's like, wow. Right? And he made the film Lock, Stock with me and my friends in mind, based the whole thing on the Dave Courtney thing, which was black guys and white guys in fancy suits that made crime palatable to the public by keeping it funny. Right? That's what Lock, Stock's about. Right? And the bashing the geezer in the sunbed, Vinnie Jones played myself, and bashing the bloke in the sunbed with my son beside me was true. The two shotgun thing was